Hi, URI Master Gardeners. This is Peg Goder, and I'm hoping in this tutorial to provide an overview as some of the changes we've made to our assignments names between 2009 and 2010. We made some changes based on what we saw in the data collected last year and also based on your inputs from the survey we did earlier this year. So I'm going to jump right in and show you what our pull-down list looks like now. The first thing you see about the list is that all of our education offerings are now listed together at the top, and they're listed with more specific titles. Instead of having just the one catch-all education hours listing, we are now trying to list everything much more specifically so that you have a better idea. For instance, particularly membership meeting, 2 hours. You'll see that there's also still a general category, education hours other. That is available for you to use, but you need to keep in mind that all education has to be approved ahead of time, and generally it will be listed on the MGA website. It will be listed here on this list, and if it isn't specifically listed, you need to get special approval for it to have it qualify for education hours. If we look down at the bottom part of the list, this is where all of our volunteer opportunities now are listed. And we did try to make the list smaller. I know it doesn't look a lot smaller, but originally we had as many as 57 assignment names there, and we have gotten it down to 41. Those of you who have these specific jobs, if you work Cumberland Monastery, you work Daggett Farm, that's pretty straightforward. Pick it, record your hours, and you're all set. You folks won't see much change. A few wording changes here and there. We changed information kiosk to kiosk, for instance. But there are some areas where we did make some significant changes. One of them was we got rid of all of the individual committee jobs, the Advanced Education Committee, Membership Committee, Annual Meeting Committee. All of these committee names were actually kind of causing a little bit of confusion. People might use them to record education hours for attending a membership meeting or for attending the annual meeting, when in fact they were meant for the people who were working on the committee that organized the annual meeting or working attendance at the membership meeting or those types of tasks. So now we've created just one catch-all assignment called committees. And any committee meeting you're attending, any work you're doing to assist, say, the PR committee or the marketing committee, all of that will go in committees. And at this time, maybe it might be a good time to introduce the assignment description names we have. Go here to the Home tab, scroll down a little bit, and look for this assignment descriptions box with a green question mark. When you click on this green question mark, this brings up these assignment descriptions, which I've shown you before. And all of the items listed here, these assignment names that are listed on your timesheet pull-down menu, are listed in the same wording and in the same order as they were on your timesheet. So if you're not sure what assignment you were supposed to pick, you can go over here and say committees. Well, what is committees all about? And there's a definition here. It's a description of what you might use the committee's assignment for. Hopefully, we're giving you enough tools to be able to make an intelligent decision on your own without needing help. And the thing is, we are still always here to help you. If you look at the list and you didn't see something right away that you thought was right, and then you came over here and you looked through all the definitions and you still weren't sure, you can still come and ask. We're here on mpgoder@verizon.net. You can find me. But remember, this is not world in peril stuff we're doing. We want you to get as close as possible. We want to have data as good as possible, but we don't want you to make yourself crazy trying to pick just the perfect thing to record your time. We want you to get credit for your time so you earn your pins and everybody's happy. So let's go back to the list and talk really about more of the specific changes. Besides the committees, if you go down, you'll see that the East Farm areas have reduced from we used to have about 5 or 6 East Farm offerings, and now we've only got 3. We've got the Demo Veggie Garden, which is one of our key projects. We've got East Farm Facilities Maintenance, which is basically anything hardware that you work on. If you're working on the buildings, if you're working on the heater in the greenhouses, or anything structural that you're taking care of. And there is, again, a definition for this over in the assignment descriptions. You record your time to East Farm's Facilities Maintenance. If you're working with anything living and green, essentially, you'll pick Orchard and Landscape, East Farm Orchard and Landscape. If you mow the lawn, if you're pruning the apple trees, or the crab apples, or the fruit bushes, or you're tending a garden other than a demo garden, all of that can go into East Farm Orchard and Landscape. The library that used to be listed under East Farm, that's now going to be recorded under committees. It was a couple of people, and it's just as easy to have you record your time into that committee's area. So East Farm's been consolidated. The next catch-all we kind of created is called Event Coordination and Support. What that's going to, where you're going to use that now. Things that happen about once a year, or maybe twice a year, that's an event. So generally, we may send the kiosk to an event, we may send soil testers to an event, and frankly, if you work the kiosk, you should record your hours to kiosk, no matter where you've done it. If you're doing soil testing at the East Farm Festival, you should still record your time to soil testing. However, if you're doing a job that isn't otherwise listed here, perhaps you were judging floral arrangements at the Newport Flower Show. Well, the Newport Flower Show is an event. The Rhode Island Flower Show is an event, which we just sent workers to Rhode Island Flower Show, and they were either doing kiosk or they were doing the info booth. If you worked kiosk, you record your time to kiosk. Those info booth workers should have recorded their time to event coordination and support. That's event support. If you coordinate the Foster Fair, that's event coordination. So if you go over and look at the definition of this, we've tried to list all of the events that we regularly frequent, and hopefully this is going to give you an idea when to use this. The idea is pick your specific job if you can find it first, and if there isn't a specific listing for what you did at this event, then your job's just going to go into event coordination and support, and it should be pretty easy to decide. Everything else pretty much the same, although you will see we have broken out the greenhouse. Used to be greenhouse propagation and plant sales, is now called greenhouse ornamentals, greenhouse poinsettias, greenhouse veggies. And anything that you're doing, if you work the East Farm Festival, but you're selling veggies in the greenhouse, in the veggie greenhouse, record your time to greenhouse veggies. If you work the poinsettia team, record your time to poinsettias, whether you're selling or growing or pinching or whatever. If you're working the poinsettia project, you record your time there. I hope this is going to make a lot of people happy. That was one of the assignment names where we got a lot of questions. The last catch-all thing, which is kind of different from where we have it before, is called research projects and special assignments. And the thing is, we always did have research projects listed as an assignment option, but we never really defined it very well. What we have now is this is to be used for research projects which are not otherwise listed on here, because in fact we do still have the Chestnut Project. It's such a prominent project, it has its own category. But for instance, we go take a look at the definition of the research projects quickly. Some of the examples of what fits the research project assignment name. The agronomy project to rebuild the hydroseeder, the shoreline restoration, any grant working with URI staff, and special assignments. These are generally things that are short-term, and not repeating, not once a year. The once a year would be an event or whatever. And usually you've been given approval from Roseanne Sherry that you're working on one of these. So generally you shouldn't be using this research projects and special assignments unless somebody specifically told you to use it. But it is going to be a handy catch-all for things that are short-term and not recurring and on a small scale in many cases. Last thing I would like to make note of, because we did combine, is the URI campus gardens. We combined the Clayton Rose Garden, the President's Garden, and the tree inventory all into URI campus gardens. And basically, any kind of plant work you're doing that is on the URI campus as opposed to East Farm will likely be recorded here under URI campus gardens. So, I hope you'll take a look. I hope you find this an improvement over what we had last year. And I'm always available for any kind of questions. Thanks.